Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the regularly scheduled meeting of the Board of Public Works for today, November 18th, 2019.
Commissioner Villegas, Garcia, James, and Colozo are present. President James, you do have a quorum. May we start with Bureau introductions, please, starting with Bureau of Street Services.
Good morning, Sandy Trump, Bureau of Street Lighting.
Good morning, Fernando Gonzalez, Los Angeles Sanitation and Environment.
Good morning, Julie Allen, Bureau of Engineering.
Good morning, John Ollinger, Bureau of Contract Administration.
Good morning, Ted Jordan, Public Works General Counsel.
Fernando Campos, Executive Officer. President James, we did receive one speaker card under general public comment. We have no commentary under the Neighborhood Council comment section. And we also received speaker cards on items number 1, 2, and 3 for today's agenda.
Thank you, Dr. Campos. Let's go ahead and take general public comment. Mr. Sachs.
Thank you, sir. You are a scholar and a gentleman. I hope everybody had a good weekend. It's been a weird week for me. I was in the store yesterday and I was thinking about buying some Oreo cookies, and they had vanilla Oreo cookies. And it got me thinking about something else, about how that's a derogatory term sometimes. But it also got me thinking about something else, that like the city of Los Angeles is more than just, for lack of a better term, an Oreo cookie. It's got a lot of other different flavors to it. And there's really somewhat of a lack of representation. I mean, last week at the Board of Supervisors, it was off the chart. We need to have a little bit more discussion for the unrepresented people that make up the rest of the population in LA. There just doesn't seem to be anybody talking about, who's going to get the jobs. There's a large Filipino contingent that works in the city. And there's a large Hispanic, Mexican-American contingent that works in the city. And there's 30 other nations or more. LA always prides itself on being a melting pot of countries, but nobody's really addressing that as, what are we going to do? What's the solution? All we're looking at is automation and job cuts. There needs to be some kind of council set up, maybe a committee. They did a committee for like the stadium, an ad hoc committee about what to do about the different nationalities that make up the city and how the city expects to survive. There's a large Korean, there's a large Chinese, there's a large Japanese, and nobody is, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Sachs. Is there a second to my motion that we approve the meeting minutes from the meeting of Wednesday, November 6, 2019? By Commissioner Garcia. Any objection? Without objection, we will do so. Dr. Campos, are we ready on number 3?
Yes, we are.
Okay. Agenda item number 3, authority for expenditure. John C. Rasmussen, doing business as the Pond Company. Sanitation and the Office of Accounting are requesting board approval and execution of an authority for expenditure in the amount of $66,000 to encumber funds to hire a qualified vendor to provide vital upkeep and maintenance of Echo Park Lake. Secondly, authorize the President, myself, or 2 members of the Board of Public Works to execute this service agreement. The term dates will be for this fiscal year, July 1, 2019 through June 30th, 2020. Mr. Haynes. Oh, we have a speaker card on number 3. Mr. Sachs waves out. Mr. Haynes.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Gordon Haynes, Bureau of Sanitation. This is an authority for expenditure for the current fiscal year. We're once again asking for your authority to enter into a contract with the Pond Company to maintain Echo Park Lake. This is the in-lake maintenance. This is specialized upkeep and services that we really need the contracted services for. Since my last appearance earlier this year, Commissioner Colozo asked about the long-term prospects for either doing this in-house or contracting it out. We've done some research and we've made some inquiries, and there is no current in-house staff that can do this, so we're currently in the process of starting our queue for a long-term contract. But this AE will get us through this next fiscal year. We may have to do one more before we get the long-term contract in place, the bid award contract.
Okay, is this about the same amount we've been spending?
It's about the
annually?
same amount. The scope didn't really go up. The amount of services went up about $6,000 this year because the effort for the scope has gone up. We found that there's a bit more trash going into the lake. Could be from homeless encampments, could be from other sources. They're retrieving approximately 5 scooters, one of those little scooters per week from the lake, and those things are heavy and actually hazardous material, so a little bit more effort.
Okay, Commissioner Garcia?
I just have one question. Is it the same company that you've used all these years?
It's the same company since the rehabilitation effort, the Propo rehabilitation project, about 2014. We had them under contract.
Okay,
since then.
thank you.
Anything further? I'll make a motion that we adopt agenda item number 3, seconded by Commissioner Davis. Any objection? Without objection, we'll adopt agenda item number 3. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Any issue sending number 3 forthwith? We'll send number 3 forthwith. Agenda item number 1, Council District 2, budget increase and supplemental agreement, change orders, Alameda Construction Services Incorporated, Ventura Boulevard Sidewalk Improvement Project, recommending that the board first authorize $831,110.75 in additional contingency and approve a revised construction budget of $2,221,445.85 for the project. And secondly, authorize the city engineer to issue supplemental agreement change orders to Alameda Construction Services for a total not to exceed amount of $831,110.75, including contingency for the Lankershim Boulevard Sidewalk Improvement Project to design and construct additional sidewalks, curb ramps, curb and gutter driveways, and retaining curbs. Mr. Chen?
Good morning. Steve Chen with the Bureau of Engineering. And just quick background on this project. We've initially had work with Alameda Construction to complete some work on Ventura Boulevard between Goodland and the 101 freeway, just various locations along Ventura Boulevard. And the work has essentially been completed. Council Office number 2 had requested that additional work be done and introduced a council motion to recommended that we use the same contractor to complete the additional work along Lankershim Boulevard between Vose and Van Owen Street. The scope of work will be essentially very, very similar to what was done on Ventura Boulevard, basically adding new sidewalk, curb and gutter, and driveways. So the request is to issue a supplemental change order to Alameda Construction Services for this work. I can take any questions.
Just the funding source. These are old CRA,
Yes,
LA access funds?
Yes, these are CRA excess funds, and so there was an urgency to get it. I should have mentioned that. There's an urgency to get the work done because of the expiration of the bond funding.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mr. Jordan, everything square here with your office?
Yeah, we concur with the recommendation.
Okay. Then I'll make a motion that we adopt it. And the council office has made the motions for this, correct?
Correct,
Okay.
yes.
Then I'll make a motion that we adopt agenda item number 1, seconded by Commissioners Caloza and Davis. Any objection? Without objection, we'll adopt agenda item number 1. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Any issue sending number 1 forthwith? We'll send number 1 forthwith.
And
Agenda item number,
Mr. President, on item number 1, we did receive a speaker card, but I believe Mr. Sachs
Oh,
is not
yes.
in the room, so
He-
just to acknowledge.
yeah, thank you. He did wave goodbye. Mr. Sachs is no longer in the hearing room, so his speaker card on number 1 will be waived. Agenda item number 2, Office of Community Beautification, Council District 5, encroachment in the public right-of-way for the Encino Commons Business Improvement District. Recommending that the board authorize the Office of Community Beautification to grant revocable permission to encroach within the public right-of-way, subject to listed conditions to the Encino Commons Business Improvement District. And the encroachment is for the installation of 42 decorative poles with hanging flower baskets along Ventura Boulevard between Balboa Boulevard and White Oak Avenue in Encino, Council District 5. Secondly, authorize the city engineer to issue a no-fee revocable permit for the work to be performed. Number 3, authorize the city engineer to issue a no-fee A permit for work to be performed. And number 4, authorize OCB to request the Bureau of Contract Administration to provide a no-fee inspection of the project. Mr. Sachs did have a card in on number 2. He's no longer in the room, so that'll be waived. Mr. Valido.
Good morning, Mr. President, Commissioners, and members of the Board. Jerry Valido, Assistant Director with the Office of Community Beautification. Today I'm presenting an Adopt a Median project spearheaded by the Encino Commons Business Improvement District. It is the first of 2 phases, and the installation will take place on Ventura Boulevard between Balboa Boulevard and White Oak Avenue. The bid plans to install approximately 42 decorative poles with hanging flower baskets to beautify and enhance the boulevard. The bid is contracted with J&B Landscaping, who will provide maintenance and watering of the flowers. And the project plans have been reviewed and approved by the Bureau of Engineering, with full support for the installation being granted by Councilmember Koretz of the 5th District. The Office of Community Beautification requests that the Board adopt this project so that we may continue with the permitting phase.
Okay, thank you. Any questions? We'll start with Commissioner Villegas.
Hi, good morning.
Morning.
Thanks. I just got the route report, and I'm just wondering about cost. How's that being covered? I don't see it here.
Right. So the project, the Encino Commons Business Improvement District has a contract, obviously, with the City Clerk's Office. And the bid was instructed that these projects must be completed by the end of the calendar year, or the assessment revenue that was allocated to them will be refunded back to the bid's stakeholders. So we're trying to get this permitted as quickly as possible so that they can get that funding in order to complete the project.
Anything further? Okay, Commissioner Garcia has made a motion that we adopt agenda item number 2. Any objection? I'll second it. Any objection? And along with Davis, Commissioner Davis. Without objection, we'll adopt agenda item number 2. Any
Thank
issue
you.
sending number 2 forthwith? We'll send number 2 forthwith. Thank you, Mr. Valido. Dr. Campos, have we cleared the desk other than our Bureau Directors meeting?
You have, yes.
All right, well, that's going to be, yeah, it's a record time today. That's going to be 11:30. Yeah, because of other stuff that's been scheduled. So we'll see everyone at 11:30 in the conference room.